Once you've satisfied your hunger, get ready for more of the hottest casino games in Vegas. Our 24-hour, 30-table non-smoking poker room proudly hosts all the most popular poker games with a variety of betting limits. Visit the poker room for a schedule of daily tournaments. Whether you're going to hold 'em or fold 'em, the best place for poker is at South Point Casino. You'll notice that our craps tables are usually the loudest in the casino. If you've never played, join one of our free craps lessons to find out what makes this game so exciting. Check with the craps dealer for schedules and give it a roll. Bingo is also an exciting way to spend your time. We offer 7 sessions of bingo every day.
Bingo!
And each session includes a cash ball jackpot, 12 bingo games, a progressive double action game, and a $10,000 bonus coverall. Electronic units are available. If you haven't played bingo with us, give it a try today. Guests can also get in on the action at our one-of-a-kind race and sports books, 2 separate rooms designed to maximize your experience and comfort. Our sports book, with over 400 seats, puts you right in the middle of the action, 24 hours a day. The friendly ticket writers are happy to help, and it's conveniently located next to the famous Del Mar Deli, where you'll find supersized portions of delicious deli items like roast beef, pastrami, and Reuben sandwiches, or soups, salads, and pizza, plus spectacular desserts fit for a king. And right next door is the race book, over 150 seats, each with its own TV screen. There are 16 interactive player terminals, so you can bet right from your seat.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book. Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching? This total has really crashed without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're laying me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex.
Welcome in. It is Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio. See, I was early today. I was talking before we even saw us here. I'm Jeff Parles. She's Alex White. There was not a memo requiring us to wear red today, but just happened to get it. Even Ryan McCormick, which it's not, look, Gryffindor is more of a maroon than it is a red.
Yeah, it's a deeper red.
It is a deeper red. Yeah, see, I was looking for the word deeper. I couldn't get there. But and also too, like, that's red. The Barbary Coast shirt is a little bit of a deeper red.
Mine is for our preview that we're going to do after.
Yes, after the show.
So it is a little hint. I had green on the other day.
The ketchup bottles, as they were known for this team's alternate jerseys over the past few years.
There we go.
There's your hint. If you can figure it out from there, good job. Even though, again, your Aviators jersey is orange, just for everyone out there, not red here on the show. All right, so we just did a minute on colors. See, you can't tell us we only do sports. We do other things here on the show. But Danny Burke's going to be with us in 10 minutes. We'll call it 10:15 Pacific time, 12:15 Central. Danny Burke today is the resident NFL preseason expert. I am calling him that when he comes on the show. He can laugh at me all he wants, but that's what we're getting from Danny. He also has some takes on a few NFL teams and then 2 Big Ten teams, which also match our colors as well.
Yes.
So there you go. So just continuing the theme of the color red. See, we're almost like Sesame Street here on the show today. But
if I know Ann, she might have a bet coming up here today with all of this red.
Oh, it might be, except the red. So this baseball card today, and we'll get into it right now, Alex, because there's 3 preseason NFL games. We'll take care of that with Danny. There's only 3 games yet to start in Major League Baseball today. This is a brutal baseball card here on a Thursday. The team that's wearing red, one of them is already playing, and they lost. By the way, Ryan, can you tell me one more time with the Nats yesterday? They won. They covered the run line. There you go. July 28th was the last time the Nats covered the run line until last night, which is obscene over almost a whole 11 days at that point. But the Nats got the win last night. They're currently getting clocked. It's 4-0. Mitchell Parker continues his horrible stretch. A's are up 4-0 early in D.C.
Yeah, and I picked the wrong day for the Athletics win total, right? So that was my one loser on the board yesterday. But right back at it today. I liked it again over getting some hits on Mitchell Parker. But I thought there would be a chance that the Nats might be able to get to Lopez a little bit, but not right now. Looking good.
Not pretty for Washington at the current moment. Again, Nats just going the wrong direction. We'll do a whole standings look at in a few moments on both the AL and the NL side. All right, let's get to the 3 games here today. Let's start in Pittsburgh. Oh, who are the Pirates playing?
This
the Reds.
Is the one.
There we go. There we go. They're playing the Reds. But it's Paul Skeens on the Pittsburgh side. He's minus 165, plus 150 on the Reds with Brady Singer, a total of 7. Reds couldn't quite pull off the sweep in Chicago yesterday. Cubs salvaged the final game of that series. We'll get to the NL Central in a minute. But Skeens a big favorite in the first 5, minus 190. He's minus 165 for the game with a total of 7 at PNC tonight, Alex.
Yeah, I would suggest not touching that first 5 if you are going to go for the underdog here. But full game, I don't have a problem with that plus 150. I think there's a better bet to be made here. But, I mean, really, Paul Skeens, he hasn't pitched over 100. They really have a pitch count going for him. He's gone 5 in 4 of his last 6, just 5 innings, and 6 in 2 of those because he did get to 86 pitches in 6 innings against Detroit and 99 against the Diamondbacks, but just 94 against Colorado and 4 earned runs in those 5 innings pitched for him. So, like I said, kind of keeping him on a pitch count. I don't expect him to go more than 5 here in this one. Then there might be a great opportunity to jump in game because I do think the Reds could get to the bullpen. They're playing for a lot more than the Pirates are. And so I think you could get a good plus price. We know I don't bet on the Reds. So I'm going to go first 5 under 3.5 here because looking at the numbers, Brady Singer's been pretty good. I mean, if you look at his last 3 opponent numbers, they're pretty much right on with Paul Skeens. So his opponents batting 156, a 255 xFIP. Paul Skeens is their opponent's 195 and a 261. So right there, I think he can hold this Pirates lineup down at least for 2 times through, maybe a run or 2, but Paul Skeens, I think, on the other side will help as well. So under 3.5, that is my best bet for this game. Can't fault you if you want to take the Reds and that good plus price.
Yeah, that's a good full game price. I wouldn't mess with Cincinnati first 5 tonight. We kind of know what we're getting. That's why you like your under 3.5 in the first 5. It's going to be low scoring. Even though Skeens is coming off of his worst start since that start in Milwaukee where the Brewers hit him up, which was over a month ago,
right?
At this rate. But, just with the Reds, who we've really said that the NL playoff race pretty well determined. The 6 that are currently in there are going to be there probably at about a 90% clip, and they probably will be. The Mets are floundering right now after that big win streak out of the All-Star break. They're now 1-8 in their last 9 and have let the Reds at least just hang around here 3 games back. Padres, dramatics last night in the 9th inning to salvage that one. But boy, the Reds are really the only one where you see the Giants, sellers at the deadline, 5 out. Cardinals, 5.5 out. Marlins have been a nice story. They're still 6 behind the Mets. And by the way, none of those teams have the tiebreaker over New York either. So Cincinnati's the only one with a chance on the outside looking in to have the tiebreak. They won 2 out of 3 in New York, and they have 1 more series left with the Mets. So of the 6 playoff teams right now, the Mets seem to be the most vulnerable by margin of the 6 that are currently in there on the NL side.
It's funny though, because really, I mean, looking at those 3 wild card as of right now, I can find flaws and things I don't love about all of them. And,
sure.
Maybe the rotation for the Cubs, and I still been talking about the Padres lineup, even though they have been hitting better, but the Mets are a complete team. And especially after they made those moves for the bullpen, and they just can't get out of their own way. So we'll see. But I feel that way. I mean, Cincinnati, they're pretty complete too. They just have to do it all at once, right? Their pitching staff has been great, but they have been very inconsistent hitting wise.
Reds, we know they're top end pitchers. The young guys are great. It's just a matter of, like you said, putting it all together at once. in Cincinnati. Again, opportunity here. This is a 4-game set against a lower division team. You got to take advantage of this if you're the Reds. Also, too, you mentioned this with the Braves yesterday. Because of the bad luck in Bristol, Tennessee with the weather, both of these teams going a long time without an off day. The Reds are not off now until August 14th.
Wow. And
their previous off day before that was July 24th. So it is going to be a long extra week without a true. Now, granted, you could argue, they technically had the off day where they only played 1 inning in Bristol. Not really. He geared up to play. It got everything going, and then
waited through the delay before it was finally.
So, and by the way, the end of this stretch, they get Philly and Milwaukee next week at home. So we could see a little bit of a differential, especially if the Mets figure it out, which, again, Mets are going to Milwaukee over the weekend, so good luck figuring it out against the red-hot Brewers. But there you go right now. We'll look at the full divisions in a second on the NL side after we look at Miami, because I want to talk about the NL West race after we talk about the Braves and the Marlins here, who are 2 teams that are out of it. It's Perez and Carrasco here tonight in Atlanta. We've talked about the Marlins recently. I think the Marlins have gotten completely overrated at this rate, at least by the market. Now, of course, they are playing significantly better than they were, but they're middling 500 team. It's probably below 500 team. And I understand it is kind of crazy. Carlos Carrasco is the guy getting the start for Atlanta tonight. But, man, is this a big enough advantage to dictate that Miami is a minus 120 road favorite, Alex? That I'm not certain of.
I really am. But I just hear my dad, he always says, don't lay juice or don't, lay points with a bad team.
Sure.
And I feel that here with Miami, even though they are the better of the 2 teams, I just think Euro Perez has been awesome, especially in his last 5 starts. I mean, he's given up 1, 0, 2, 1, and 0, and he's gone 5, 6, and even 7 against the Orioles. So I definitely think there's a pitching advantage, especially we've only seen Carrasco just in 1 game since coming back, and that was July 31st against the Reds. He did do pretty good, 6 innings pitched, just 3 earned runs in that one, but I do think Perez can pitch well. I think the Marlins are playing for more. The Braves just have so many guys out and have really just not met expectations, right? And the Marlins are still just kind of having fun. So I do like that side. I'm just not determined. It's my least favorite of the 3. And I did actually find 3 angles for all 3 games. But I mean, I might just have some fun and even just do a small bet on the run line if I'm going to bet the Marlins.
Hey, there's only 3 games. Do a small round robin, right? On maybe the 3 things you like here today, which we'll get to the Mariners in a second. But Ryan, throw the divisional standings up real quick for the NL if you got them. The Padres, and this is where I want to go more so than anything. The Padres-Dodger race, with the additions San Diego made at the deadline, and the fact that the Dodgers were super quiet, all things considered, at the deadline. And look, I get it. Blake Snell coming back, maybe Sasaki coming back. You can argue, all right, that's better than anything the Dodgers could have gotten at the deadline. Yes, I understand that argument. But this is nothing to say, the Dodgers are definitely winning the West. I'm not convinced of that at the current moment, because the way the Padres have built that roster now, where I like their starting pitching, I think, more than a lot of people do. They have the best bullpen in baseball now. Mason Miller, just don't throw fastballs to Lourdes Gurriel, even if they're 105 miles an hour. That's the only blip on Miller's radar so far in San Diego. And we saw it last night in the big moment. That Ryan O'Hearn pickup is a gigantic move for them, because that lineup has not had a left-handed power bat all year, because Cronenworth doesn't hit for power anymore, and Merrill's not hitting for power this year like he did last year. And now you have an extra left-handed bat in there to help Machado and Tatis out, and gives them another big bopper that they've been missing all year. Look, the Mets and Phillies still have 7 games against each other. That could flip around, and both teams have shown the capabilities of going through bad stretches. The Cubs and the Brewers play 5 next week at Wrigley. That could flip on a dime, even with how well Milwaukee is playing. That Dodger-Padre race is the closest one in Major League Baseball right now, period. The closest race in Major League Baseball. Don't be surprised if the Padres steal the division.
We might have to look for a plus price. I was just looking into it because you said you're higher on their pitching staff, and I just worry so much. I like Pivetta, but Dylan Cease, Yu Darvish, Nestor Cortez, I just did look up, though,
Sure.
and Michael King did make a rehab start.
We should be seeing
August 3rd.
We should be seeing him back soon.
That's a game changer for me. If we can get Michael King back, then I would jump in on the Padres to win that division.
Yeah, they're all, the 6 teams that are currently in the playoffs, even though the Mets are playing some awful baseball right now, they're going to be the 6, barring still a surprise in the National League. But boy, imagine if the Dodgers have to play a wild card series. Hey, they might have to anyway, even if they win the NL West. They might have to play a best of 3.
Right, yeah.
The NL East champion could still end up with the 2 seed very easily right now in the NL. All right, last game in the AL here. Logan Gilbert against Sean Smith today. Mariners minus 280, big favorites against the White Sox. Alex, anything here with a total of 7.5 in this one?
Yeah, I'm going right back to it. Just like yesterday, went Marlins team total over 4.5. I like it again here in this spot. I know it's a low total, and that's because it's Shane Smith. And Shane Smith is a better pitcher than Jonathan Cannon, I would say. But still, I mean, if you look at his game logs, he's not going very deep into games.
Sure.
So 4 1/3, 3 against Cleveland, 4 1/3 against the Angels. So, I mean, bring that bullpen in. Seattle's feeling good right now. Their lineup is hitting. Their additions at the trade deadline have been great for them as well. So I'm going over again, team total. On the other side, I do like Logan Gilbert too. So that's why I'm not going full game.
And then real quick on the AL standings, again, the only other race that's 2 games right now is the American League West. The Mariners have closed the gap on Houston. And again, after the deadline, I said it, Alex, I thought Seattle had the best deadline of anyone in baseball. And it's showing the rewards quickly because they're hitting. And Naylor and Suarez have produced in a big way. And again, if the Mariners can find a way to get a bye, which it's still going to be a hard task for them to get a bye because Toronto just made Colorado look like the worst team ever the last 3 days. And Detroit is really, again, they've stabilized. But look, Cleveland's within 6 all of a sudden in the American League Central. If Seattle can find a way to get to that 2 line and get the bye, boy, it makes things very difficult. It could make things very difficult for whoever has to play them in a best of 5 without home field.
Yeah, that definitely makes them live to win the American League. I mean, I do think that they're a team that these other ones do not want to face in the playoffs. So
absolutely. Again, Mariners right now in the 5 slot. Those Boston Red Sox, again, 4 games behind the Blue Jays, but the Red Sox just keep on winning. A season high, 12 games over 500 now at 64 and 52. Yankees finally stopped the bleeding with a win yesterday. A big stretch. David Bednar was asked to throw like 45 pitches to close that thing out against Texas yesterday afternoon. They're your AL pennant odds. I still think Seattle at 5-1 is a good number, personally. That's still pretty good, all things considered. Yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, our guy Danny Burke will join us next. A lot of football to talk about with Danny. Our good buddy now with betting news joins us next here on Sports by the Book.
football contest sign-up season is here, and you don't want to miss out on the action. With millions of dollars on the line each and every week in the world's biggest football contest, there's only one proxy to trust, footballcontest.com. Maddie and Tony have set the gold standard for football contest proxy services with 20 years of experience and over $13 million in winnings for their clients. All you have to do is get to Vegas between now and the start of football season to sign up in person, and they do the rest, making sure your picks are entered every week. Whether you want to play in the Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, Super Contest Gold, or the new Super Contest College Contest, Maddie and Tony have you covered. Their new website has everything you need to know about these football contests and more, including how you can reserve the best proxy in the business. Experience matters, so go with the pros at footballcontest.com, the gold standard proxy service.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Welcome back in. It's Sports by the Book here at the South Point studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. And now joining us, our good buddy, got the glow up, was in Vegas this past weekend, and I know he lost a few golf balls up at Paiute over the weekend, Danny. So our good friend Danny Burke joins us. Stochastic betting news as well. DB, was I right on the over-under for golf balls lost? Was I right on there? Was I right?
Yeah, you were, and it's funny. I mean, having lived in Vegas, I played Paiute several times with yourself, and
Yes.
one of my favorite courses to go to. I had forgotten that when you go there, sometimes it's like you're playing in a tornado. So
Yes,
I
that is
will
true.
use that for my excuse. Totally wasn't me slicing the ball. And you would think, looking at the course being completely open, that it's not that easy to lose a ball. But no, it certainly is when the wind's blowing about 20 miles per hour and you have the swing that I do sometimes after a couple cocktails. But look, it was great to get out there. Then we also did a little scramble with the bachelor party group at Las Vegas National, keeping it close to the strip and everything. So that one went a little bit better, just, playing the scramble version of everything. But no, it was a blast to get out to Paiute, and the over certainly hit. That's for sure.
There we go. It always does for me. You can't make that number high enough for lost golf balls up there, whether it's snow or Sun Mountain. All right, Danny, let's get into these NFL preseason games starting tonight. And let's start in Baltimore. Look, everyone knows that John Harbaugh's great in the preseason stuff at this rate, but Indianapolis is playing their starters and Baltimore's not tonight. It's as simple as that. That's why this is now Indianapolis -6 here at the South Point. There's a bunch of 6.5 in the market as well, and a total of 37 tonight at M&T Bank Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it perfectly, right? That's a huge storyline. You have the preseason domination that we always seen from Harbaugh, and it's very odd now to see them catching those points. But as you noted, it's because it's going to be the competition between Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson. With that being said, there's still a lot of, kinks to work out for both teams, but especially with the Jones and Richardson situation, because they're, accustomed to having this NFL experience more so than the backups. I don't know if that warrants them laying 6 in the hook against a very competitive Ravens team in this type of environment. And in general, it feels pretty tough to lay that many points in the preseason, especially week 1 in the preseason. So I'm actually taking a little stab and taking 6.5 with the Ravens here, just based on the fact that I think people may be, I don't want to say overreacting, but just a little bit too high on the fact that we are going to see a lot of Jones and Richardson. And I get the sentiment. Again, we all understand this. It's going to be one of their starting quarterbacks heading into the regular season, which, I wouldn't be that excited if I were a Colts fan. But again, I don't think it necessarily warrants having that many points in this spot. And I don't know if we're going to see that much Cooper Rush maybe for a few series, but then you still got Devin Leary, Malik Cunningham, who are vying for that third spot. And Cunningham, we know, is a scrambler. He can make some magic happen with his feet. It just seems like too many points here with a coach in Harbaugh who is going to be competitive and two quarterbacks who are not good. Let's just be honest. So, I'm not going crazy with this bet. I mean, let's be honest, I'm not going too crazy with any of these preseason bets, but especially this one, it's kind of like out of principle here with the points and the competitive edge going toward Baltimore and this Harbaugh squad that's done so well in the preseason. Again, every year you got to take into context, but I'm just not in love with the quarterback situation in Indianapolis.
Couple factors going into this one, Danny, and the line move here. I mean, the Eagles are 0-8 in their last 8 preseason games. And then on the other side, Zach Taylor, we're not used to seeing him have his starters play, but the word is we will see some of Joe Burrow and maybe some of Jamar Chase. 6.5 for the Bengals, total 37. Are you going more favorite on this one, or are you still liking the points with the dog?
Yeah, this one I probably have the least confidence among the 3 games tonight. I'm still leaning toward taking the points with Philadelphia. And again, we know, like you mentioned, Alex, that yes, we are going to see at least, a couple series or so from Joe Burrow, maybe Jamar Chase. But after that, then you get into the backups, which on a team like Cincinnati, probably not as good as what we're going to see out of this Philadelphia roster. So, you may get a touchdown, a series drive from Burrow, and if that happens, maybe he's out. Then it's a completely different ball game, and then you get all the backups in the mix. Philadelphia, not traditionally doing well in the preseason per se, but again, it's a lot of points here, and I think a lot is riding on the fact that Burrow and company may just get a series or two, which shouldn't really help carry them for the whole game and potentially covering such a high spread. So again, a small stab here with taking the points with Philadelphia. Don't love this game too much, but that would be the side that I would gravitate toward.
Again, we haven't seen, ever since Burrow had that appendectomy, we just haven't seen him play in the preseason.
Yeah.
Just the way it's been. Very, very strange to see Taylor actually changing. It's strange to see any coach at this point changing their strategy, but Bengals have been the worst team in the NFL over the last 6 years in week 1. So a good, maybe a good change from Zach Taylor to actually play his guys right out of the chute here in the preseason. Another one where you got guys playing versus guys not playing here. Raiders on the road in Seattle against the Seahawks tonight. Pete Carroll, we'll see the starters early. And then again, that's why we see a game that opens. Seattle is a small favorite, is now Las Vegas -5, Danny.
Yeah, so this one I am going to be looking at the favorite, and you're right, Pete Carroll alluding to that. They're all ready to go, meaning some of their starters are going to get some playing time in this spot. Certainly you have the revenge factor, too. I don't know how much you can hold that accountable in preseason, but, Pete Carroll's kind of a crazy guy, uber competitive, and, Geno Smith looking to make a name against the former squad as well. So if you're getting in at that 4.5 spot, again, you're getting into a little bit higher of a range, but that's the side I'd feel a little bit more comfortable with, as opposed to, more question marks and learning, different systems there with Seattle. And you can argue that the same a little bit with the Raiders and getting new pieces, but there is still some more familiarity there that I feel a tad bit more comfortable with. So I think the Raiders go into this game with a lot more pride and a competitive attitude, really. And I think this is the spot, if you're going to lay a favorite, that it's warranted to do so. So I like 4 in the hook on the side of the favorite here, going with Las Vegas.
Danny, I don't do a lot of searching of the Chicago Bears. I just feel like things are popping up, and I'm seeing more negativity than positivity when it comes to Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. And I don't want to take too much from camp at all, so I'm not even really clicking on it to read into it. What are you hearing? What are your expectations? And now we're seeing right here, we've got Sunday's game, the Bears hosting the Dolphins. They're a 3-point favorite. What are you expecting from camp? What else have you heard? And then what about this first preseason game?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's always going to be a spotlight on the number 1 draft pick, especially one that was as highly touted as Caleb Williams. So as bad as last season was, we still have to remember the highlights that we witnessed. As someone who watched every single snap of the Bears season, I mean, you clearly see the potential of Caleb Williams, and he was stuck in such a crappy coaching staff with limited, I don't want to say limited weapons, but limited protection, certainly up front. So you're throwing him into an absolute dumpster fire there to begin with, and he still maintained, limited the interceptions, took some sacks that he didn't need to have, but with another year under his belt, he's just going to improve off of that, you would imagine. I mean, this guy, again, it's limitless what he's capable of. And the reason you're hearing all this negativity, again, you're getting it prompted up even more so because of who he is, the big organization, and then getting the most highly sought after coach in the offseason, and Ben Johnson. I mean, we've seen how dynamic his offense has been. It's going to be a work in progress. There's going to be a lot of different learning curves for this team, and especially for Caleb Williams. So it would probably be more strange if you heard that, oh no, practice is going seamless or adjusting immediately. Like, that's just not how things work in the real world. So I think everybody outside of the Bears organization, you're kind of rooting for Caleb Williams to fail a little bit, because that's just human nature. When some guy's as good as he is and you're used to this Bears team being miserable, it kind of goes hand in hand. Does that mean that they're going to pop off this season and make the playoffs? No, probably not still, because they have a really difficult schedule, and still there are going to be these humps, there are going to be these learning curves throughout the course of the season. I think they'll be more competent. It's hard not to, following an Eberflus coach team, but it doesn't mean there's going to be instant gratification. There's not going to be win, 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 win. It's going to be, all right, they're not doing the stupid thing. So I'm not too worried as a Bears fan. I'm still keeping my expectations tempered, but I think it's going to be exciting for the following year and then the years to come after that. I mean, that 8.5, there's a reason why it's plus money to go toward the over. I think 8 wins is pretty realistic. I would be obviously pleasantly surprised if they got to 9, but 8 seems fairly plausible given their schedule. Definitely not freaking out about what I've heard throughout training camp. I think they'll be fine. And then, in terms of their preseason game against Miami, this in terms of a spread is just a big question mark to me, because we really haven't heard what's going to happen with the starting group from Chicago. You would imagine, given the fact that it's a new scheme, a new coaching staff, that you would want to get Caleb and company as acclimated as possible. So getting as many of those meaningful reps. So I think we will see a little bit of them. Again, this is just my speculation. And then, with the backup situation with Keenum and then Badgen, you do have really 2 solid backups in the mix. But then there's a question of how well are they going to be able to adapt to Ben Johnson's scheme. So it's a big question mark on that side in terms of what's going to translate immediately. On the side of Miami, presumably no Tua and a lot of those starters. And, Mike McDaniel with this Dolphins team, I mean, there have been rumors about the seat getting a little bit warmer and the Dolphins kind of being in a really tough spot in general. So are they going to come out with a more incentive in this preseason? Again, things we're going to have to wait and see. I would probably lean just a little bit toward taking the points with Miami, but I'm probably going to stay away from the spread and rather focus on this total. 32.5 seems to be about the which of course is incredibly low, but they have been doing the joint practices, and we know the trend, errs toward the side of the under once you have that familiarity and props up the defenses a bit more. And we still know that that's always going to be the Bears' identity until proven otherwise. So I think Chicago will hold their own on that side of the ball. And because of learning a whole new offense for these backup quarterbacks and even Caleb Williams, I think that'll boast this Miami defense as well. That could be making a little bit of stride on that side of the ball too. So yeah, I think the under would be my favorite play for this game. But realistically, going to sit back and watch this one and see what we can formulate from a Bears fan perspective with what Ben Johnson's been dishing out. But I think it's going to be a grosser, lower scoring affair.
All right, Danny, let's go to some other teams, at least for full season outlook. Let's keep it in the NFC North first. Packers, of course, back-to-back years with Jordan Love at the helm. They get the 7th seed. 2 years ago, they advanced. Last year, they don't. What do you think of Green Bay coming into the year?
Look, everybody here knows, by now, I'm sure that, of course, I'm a Bears fan. We just talked about them. That doesn't mean that I, have this hate for the Packers when it comes to a betting perspective. But I've been pretty adamant about my lack of confidence in Jordan Love. I think he's a fine quarterback, but I do think we saw his true colors last year, especially with those turnover issues. Now, he did correct the course, and he was dealing with an injury. But I think if you put him on a majority of any other team, he would be doing a lot worse. And, ifs and buts, we can get into that. But a lot of this is just the mastermind of who Matt LaFleur is and how he can scheme around Jordan Love. But with all that being said, I mean, you still have, not really a true number one receiver on that depth chart. You lost some pieces on the defensive side of the ball, which I think is going to see a decline throughout the course of the season. And you got an aging running back in Josh Jacobs, who still could be primed for a good year, but I don't know if we're going to see a great year per se. And then you look at the strength of schedule. They actually have one of the more difficult strengths of schedule throughout the National Football League, and that's with the NFC North presumably improving. While I don't think the Bears are really, in a great spot to get over their win total, again, I think they're going to be more competitive in a tougher out. The Vikings certainly kind of up with how J.J. McCarthy is going to do, but you still give a lot of confidence in Kevin O'Connell, and they have pieces there. And then the Lions, while they're not going to be as good as they were last year with, the turnaround that we see on their staff, they're probably still going to be at the top of that division. So 9.5 seems a bit bullish with this Packers team. I haven't made a bet on it, but I would definitely have the strong lean toward the under. I think people just still are overrating Jordan Love and this team as a whole, and I'm not ready to back that notion up. So they're certainly a team that I'm going to keep an eye on and be ready to fade on a game-to-game basis, because, again, I think the market's a bit overzealous on them. And just when you think about it from a public media perspective, people are always looking at the pros with Green Bay, and they have earned that right. We go from Favre to Rodgers to Love having a really good year right out of the gates. I mean, what he did in the playoffs against the 49ers, despite losing, beating the Cowboys, I get it. You got to give credit where credit's due. But last year, I think we more so saw the trend of where they're going to head toward and its true colors in the quarterback that Jordan Love is. So I'm not ready to buy in on this team. I think it's going to be a pretty middling season for the Cheeseheads.
Danny, let's go to another team that you have a bet on or a take here with the New England Patriots. The Mayo experiment is over. Mike Vrabel comes in, and he's got a lot of expectations already. 6-1 to win the AFC East. Their win total 8.5. Are you buying on Drake May's second year?
So, this win total's kind of gotten out of hand. I mean, up to 8.5 seems insane to want to take it over at this point, given what the Patriots were in the past and imagining a quick turnaround. With that being said, I don't think there's value in the win total anymore, but I do think there is going to be value on looking at them on a game-to-game basis, or if they start off slow, wait for an adjusted win total, get it back down to that 7.5 and not an egregious price to the over. Or heck, maybe it even comes down to 6.5 at some point and then look to take the over. Maybe that doesn't happen, but if it does, I'm still going to hold my preseason thoughts accountable to this squad that does have a very favorable schedule, one of the easiest in the NFL. Peace and Stephon Diggs. Sure, he's getting a little bit over the hill, but you do add it to a pretty good receiving core with Demario Douglas there. And then obviously in the tight end group, you got Hunter Henry and Hooper there, who can certainly be viable receiving options. And now you're going to get an identity with this team with Vrabel being under helm. It's not really, probably the savviest thing to wanting to take a first-year head coach going to a crappy team with this win total going up and expecting them to just absolutely boom. But I do think that there were signs of life last year, and that's evident with this win total and the addition of Vrabel. And we can probably expect this defense to take a step forward as well. There's a lot more to play for this season for the Patriots, a lot more to prove. But again, you kind of miss the boat here with this win total, but it's certainly a team to keep an eye on. And if they start off slow, again, keep an eye out for that adjusted win total. That's really where I love hitting these win total markets, are waiting maybe, weeks 1 through 4, seeing how much they've moved and remembering not to freak out, right? We talk about it all the time. You can't have recency bias when it comes to betting on a week-to-week basis, and it should be the same unless something drastic happens with these adjusted win totals, because we know how the schedule is laid out heading into the year. We had our expectations set for each game, and maybe some fluky things happen in a spot where they should have won or vice versa. So the Patriots are definitely a team I'm going to be monitoring every single week and seeing if I can get a better number. And if not, well, I'll just look to take them on a game-to-game basis and thinking they're going to be a really feisty group this season.
All right, Danny, let's go to the college end of things, and let's go with we're going to save Nebraska for last. Don't worry. Let's go to Indiana. Hoosiers, of course, surprise playoff team a year ago, but a totally new look roster that, Danny, the schedule's not as easy, but there's an argument to be made this Indiana roster is better than it was a year ago.
No, there certainly is, Jeff. And I'm curious both your guys' thoughts on this team, because the way I look at this Hoosiers group is a team that was last year, yes, again, we talk about give credit where it's due, certainly applicable to Indiana. Simultaneously, now you walk into this year not playing with house money. You've got a target on your back. All right. You set the image for yourself. And now everybody's not overlooking this Indiana team. And by the latter half of last season, certainly that was the case. But now it gets real. You got a difficult schedule and there's expectations to be met. Yes, on paper, the roster could be solid, but with a lot of turnover in college, you can never predict it unless it's a real, true, dominant program that we've seen with the Ohio States, with Oregon, Alabama, et cetera. And Indiana clearly isn't that. So I think under 8.5 is where I would be leaning toward. This team just really fascinates me this season. I think they're going to be propped up a bit more than they deserve to be. And maybe they'll prove me wrong. I'll eat crow if that's the case. But I see them ending at 8 wins here. And I know most books have it shaded toward the under 8 in the hook. I saw one actually out here in Illinois with some plus money to the under, and that would really be the go sign if you can somehow get plus money or even about minus 110 to 8 in the hook. The non-conference should be good for them, so you could probably wait for those first 3 games. Or most likely going to go 3-0, and then you can attack an under if it gets adjusted there. But yeah, with the big target on their back now, I'm not ready to, just jump on this train and thinking Indiana is going to stay consistent at that high level to where they were last year. So again, curious your guys' thoughts, but I think it's going to be a little bit of a rude awakening for this Indiana team that many people may not realize right now.
I'll just say this. You have to go to Oregon. You have to go to Penn State. You have to go to Iowa. You pretty much have to be perfect. Other than that, in that Illinois game, everyone seems to have huge expectations for the Illini this year. So it's going to be. I would lean to the under, Danny, but I think their quarterback situation is going to be much better this year. I really do. Just again, by the end, Rourke was damaged by the end of the year, just with the injury situation, but. I just think that Mendoza is an upgrade, but we'll see. Again, as you said, you never know. If transfer portal, you can end up with all sorts of things. All right, Alex, I'm leaving you for the fun question now, and we always love asking Danny.
Okay, to your alma mater. Now, they ended a pretty long drought there. They made it to a bowl last year. Matt Rule now in his 3rd year, and Dylan Raiola going into his 2nd year under center. 7.5 now is the expectation for win totals. You think they can go over that this year, Danny?
Yeah, unfortunately I do. And I say unfortunately because that's going to inevitably lead me to betting my alma mater to getting over 7.5 wins. I know we were talking about this off air a little bit because the schedule sets up so nicely for them. And people may be wondering why I'm having this type of sentiment. When you watch as many Nebraska games as I do, when you are a Nebraska Cornhuskers fan, paired with being a Chicago Bears fan, you question why you even watch the sport of football. It just makes you rip your hair out every single weekend. But you got to put the objective lenses on, right? So if I didn't have that disdain for my own program, just, giving me ulcers all the time, the schedule incredibly easy. They should win all 3 non-conference games. Then you get the Wolverines at home. Now, Michigan is a team that I think actually is probably a little bit better than the market's indicating. So I honestly will chalk that up for a loss. But certainly, we shouldn't be too surprised if Nebraska pulls it off. But I am a little worried in that spot for Nebraska, as we should be. And you also got to factor in that you got to travel to Penn State. So they're going to lose that game. You get the toss-ups here at Minnesota. Regardless of how Minnesota looks, Nebraska seemingly always plays worse when they travel up north. So that's about a 50-50 spot. Against USC, it was a really sloppy game last year when Nebraska was taking on the Trojans, but they kept it close, and now you bring them at home, and you have another, and this applies to every game, right? You have another year, a full offseason with Dana Holgerson as your offensive coordinator. Remember, they brought him in halfway through. I mean, the offense turned into an absolute nightmare. And then you saw slight improvement with Holgerson, and then it kind of flatlined. So now you get a whole offseason to work with that. You get another year of experience with Dylan Raiola, who kind of like Caleb Williams, showed those flashes, but certainly had a ton of mistakes. And now you're getting weaponry around him. I mean, he did not have good receivers to help him out last year, did Raiola, but they did add some pieces in that regard. The line may take a little bit of a hit. The defense may regress a tad bit, but the defense is still really good. 2 years ago, they were great. Last year, they were really good. This year, they still should be solid. But, you lose a big body like a Ty Robinson. I mean, that's certainly going to, hurt you a little bit up front and is tough to replace. But, just getting this group together again with more experience with the coaching staff, Matt Rule in year 3, we've seen the trends in the past. And because of how easy the schedule is, the minimum should be 8 wins. And I think if it weren't for, the unluckiness that we have seen from Nebraska since, and it may be my fault, since I've been affiliated with them, this would probably be placed at 8.5, maybe, probably with the juice, sided toward the under here. But because everybody knows what ends up happening to this Nebraska team, they find ways to lose, especially at home. They shoot themselves in the foot. They do the dumbest things. Talk about competency. Like I said with the Bears, again, it's the pattern here with both of these teams. If they can just do the little things right and do what you're supposed to do, win the games you're supposed to win, there is no reason that they shouldn't get to 8 wins. So from the objective standpoint, Alex and Jeff, again, if you're looking at it from there, it is worth laying about that minus 135, minus 140 juice for them to get over 7.5 wins, because on paper, there is no reason why they can't do that. Honestly, again, if you take out everything that we've known about this program for the past 10 years, 9 wins is honestly realistic. I mean, that's where the realistic goal should be. So with that in mind, again, 8 has to be the minimum here. And that's why, unfortunately, I think the over is the absolute right side to go here. Now, will I be wrong? Probably, just because it's Nebraska. But again, and Jeff, I know you were talking about it off air with me, like it would be crazy for them not to, but at the same time, it makes all the sense in the world because of what they have done to us.
Oh, more so to you than me, but yes, I get the sentiment, to say the very least. But it is we're going to learn a lot quickly, because week 1 they play Cincinnati in Kansas City. I think Nebraska is significantly better than this version of the Bearcats, and if you listen to the show the last 2 years, you know my thoughts of Scott Satterfield. I think he's terrible. So this is like coaching advantage, team advantage, travel advantage. Like, if Nebraska loses at Arrowhead week 1 to Cincinnati, then throw out everything you just said, Danny. Then it could really turn into
no kidding.
really turn into a mess there in Lincoln yet again. All right, Danny, I want to ask you one more college football before we let you go, and it is in the Big Ten. Penn State, Oregon, Ohio State seems to be the big three-headed monster. Some are throwing Michigan in that category. I don't think they're quite with those top 3 teams. But what do you think in the end here with those 3 teams? What would you rather have of Ohio State plus 210 to win the Big Ten, Penn State plus 2.25, or Oregon plus 275 to win the Big Ten championship? Which of those 3 do you think is best?
Oregon's got a lot of turnover on that roster, but it's the Ducks. I mean, Lanning's going to figure it out. They're going to be competitive. I wish we were getting a better price on them, over 3-1. And then I think the case could certainly be made, because of the price and the talent and the coaching, that would be the route to take. Ohio State, it's different in college, but sure, you got to factor in the championship hangover a little bit, and certainly having a lot of turnover on their roster. And then you look at Penn State, and everybody's on Penn State, and I completely get it. I mean, if there is a season for them to do it, it is this one. But I still don't have that much faith in Drew Aller here. I mean, look, I've seen him in the big games. I mean, he's, just completely average at best. Anytime they have to rise to the occasion. The surrounding cast, fantastic. The schedule should set up nice enough for them. And because Ohio State may be weakened a bit, and same with Oregon in relative terms, this is the time to do it. But it's one of those, until I'm proven otherwise, I can't jump on that train. So anybody who's taking Penn State, I'm not really going to slam my fist and argue against you. But just from my personal viewing and what I attribute to their quarterback situation, I am still hesitant there. So, it stinks to say that there's no value, not give you, a really good soundbite here, but that's kind of the way I look at it right now. I guess my choice would be Ohio State, just because of the weapons that they continue to bring here and the swagger that they have, and how they're able to develop every single quarterback. And what's happened in the past with them against Michigan and them against Penn State. So unfortunately, at that terrible price, it would be Ohio State for me. But I completely get every argument that people would make for Penn State. It's just, again, I don't trust that quarterback situation whatsoever, Jeff.
Danny, I've said this to Vinny and Chris. Power ratings for me, Penn State is number 1 on my ratings, which terrifies me. And for every reason you just said, forget, you didn't even mention, James, like the James Franklin factor on top of having the quarterback who again, and I like Aller. I think he's a really good college quarterback who happened to have his worst moment in college at the absolute worst possible time last year. So I still, that roster is so good. And it's funny, they lose Abdul Carter and their defense might be better than it was last year. That's how loaded that team is. So again, we'll see. As you see, Texas, the favorite here at the South Point, a plus 450, and then Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, the next three. So the Big Ten with three of the top four here at the South Point for shortest odds to win the national championship. He's Danny Burke. Of course, Danny Burke 5 on the Tweets Betting News, where you can find his work as well. By the way, there's the prop as well to win the national championship, where the SEC is actually the favorite at plus 135, Big Ten at plus 140, and then everyone else double digits, ACC, Big 12, and then Notre Dame and the G5 put together in the field at 10-1. Danny, pleasure as always, man. Thanks for hanging. I'm sure we will be catching up with you a lot as we move into football season here.
Always a blast, guys. Appreciate you having me on. Take care.
Absolutely. Danny Burke, everyone. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Trivia answer, Alex's whiteboard, and we'll get out of here on a Thursday morning here on Sports by the Book.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the Book. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching?
This total has really crashed without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're landing me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book to wrap things up here on a Thursday. We'll have Alex's whiteboard, which will be 3 for 3 on the 3 remaining baseball games here today. So we'll get that in a moment. Big thanks to our guy, Danny Burke, as always, checking in. Danny echoes our NFL preseason game thoughts. We are following Danny tonight. That is the advice we'll give from the two of us here on the desk. We like what Danny had to say.
No, I really do. Especially, when you're looking at Baltimore and Philadelphia and their second string, it can be very good. And you're getting 6.5 points. So it could be too many points there.
And it's also Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson playing in a football game also against pros. Let's just go with that as well. So you can get 6.5 on Baltimore at other shops. So shop around if you like the Ravens tonight.
I will just say I might take a little bit of the points. I'm going to stay away from the last game with the Raiders and probably just watch that one.
I agree with you.
The only thing is how Pete Carroll worded that makes me a little bit nervous. He just said everybody's live.
Yeah,
That's it.
I'm with you. That would be the one. And Danny was the most cautious of that one as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Even though he looked to the favorite, but was not as strong as the other 2 dogs here tonight. All right, trivia question. Here we go. Vince doing it again. Good question here today. On this date in 2004, Greg Maddux. And that Maddux guy, pretty good. Vegas' own as well. Secured his 300th career victory with an 8-4 win. He was a Cub at that point, did it over the Giants. Maddux would go on to win 355 games in his Hall of Fame career. Name the other two now retired pitchers that have since joined the 300 win club. So only two guys have done it since Maddux did it on this date 21 years ago. And that, of course, was a pair of left-handers. One of Greg Maddox's longtime teammates, Tom Glavine, of course, a member of the Mets when he won his 300 game at Wrigley Field on a Sunday night. Got there. Glavine only won 5 more games, ended up with 305 in his career. And then the big unit, arguably the best left-handed pitcher ever, Randy Johnson. Both of these guys are in the argument for that. But the unit did it as a member of the San Francisco Giants in Washington, D.C. at Nats Park. 303 career wins for Randy Johnson. That came in 2009, that 300th career win. And Nick gets on the board here tonight with a victory with Glavine and Randy here today.
You weren't kidding. Very good question by Vince.
Yeah,
Using that on this day, but then has a spin to it.
Yeah, I actually, when I first read through it today, I was like, oh, I wasn't glad. I knew Glavine's was early August. So I was like, oh, I think Glavine and Maddux happened to win their 300 game on the same exact day, but in different years. But no, Glavine was 8-5, 07. Maddux, of course, was 8-7, 05. Wow. So you flip the 7 and the 5. There you go. See, there's your connection on that. So, all right. Here on a Thursday again, whiteboard time. Alex says a play on all 3 remaining baseball games on the card, Alex.
I do. So the first one coming up, I really like this first 5 staying under that 3.5. Brady Singer, Paul Skeens. Brady Singer, I think, has been much better than his numbers indicate, and I think he can hold this Pirates offense. Mariners, I'm going right back to it. Over 4.5 playing against the White Sox. I know Shane Smith has been relatively good, but he has not gone deep into games. I think against him in the 4th or 5th inning, and then the bullpen will be able to get some runs from Seattle. And then Miami Marlins, -120 favorite over the Braves. But Perez has been really good. I do think that they can get this win. This is my least confident one. That is why I put it at the bottom, because I'm probably not even going to play them money line. I'm just going to play a little, maybe half a unit on the run line here at a plus price for them to win by 2.
There you go. Marlins, Mariners, team total over, and then first 5 under with Skeens and Singer tonight at PNC Park, the looks for Alex White. All right, that's what we got for you here on a Thursday. More NFL previews coming your way on the channel as well, so be on the lookout for that. And also today, Gone Racing will be coming out. Brendan Gone, Jeff Motley, get you ready for this week in NASCAR. I wonder if either of those gentlemen will have thoughts on the baseball game that was played at Bristol Motor Speedway last weekend as well. So be on the lookout for that coming your way this afternoon. Gone Racing on YouTube with Motley and Gone here from the South Point studio. All right, we're back tomorrow on the show. Vinny Magliulo makes his triumphant return to the show tomorrow at around 10:30. Yeah, we're looking forward to Vinny. Haven't seen him in a little bit, so it'll be good to see Vinny back in action here at the studio. She's Alex White. I'm Jeff Parles. We'll see you again tomorrow right here on the channel, 10 a.m., live as always from the South Point Hotel and Casino on Sports by the Book.